Hey guys, welcome back actually to part 3 of what if issei was actually of an Anodite, of course. If you guys actually like actually my content that I actually do, if you guys are new hearing my voice, please actually subscribe and actually share this video to your friends and family, of course. That I actually make actually what if on this channel and so yeah on. Now, without further ado, I don't want to waste any of you guys' time, so let's just start this story. It's been about actually a month since the whole event happened at actually school when issei was faced off against Verlaine, of course. Issei completely destroyed Verlaine in that fight that pretty much actually he just let Verlaine go with actually Biku. Right now we'll just see issei in bed, of course, with actually Akano as the two of them do live together. Now after the two of them are walking to school, immediately they will get the attention of all the different students, and some of the males will be jealous of issei. He gets to actually walk with actually the hottest girl in actually school. Now pretty much actually in class it will go actually normally, and when the class ended, of course, issei will go to the Coach Reacher Club, of course. There he will meet Reyes and the rest of actually the group, and he will actually ask what are they actually doing. As Reyes will actually explain that they are talking about going to the underworld actually for actually their 4 months of training. Now, pretty much actually issei will say that he would like to tag along, which they will actually happily agree. Now we'll basically time skip to the Grimmery train where pretty much issei will be playing cosplay Akano, Kiba, and Konoko, of course, and there pretty much the train ride will actually not change in this, of course. It will pretty much be the same. Now, once actually Sona was dropped off, of course, the train will begin moving, of course, and again they will actually stop because actually some Asgards will be joining them. Now, immediately the train will disappear as everybody will just fall out, of course, but issei will actually start flying, and with this he will regain his balance. Once issei reaches the ground, he will immediately look around and actually ask where was he. Now, immediately issei will actually sense Reyes and Azazel magic far away, but they're keeping it suppressed. But actually, he'll feel of another thing, of another actually like what creature super close. Now, issei will hear a roar that will actually alert the rest of the other group, and immediately they will see a dragon actually far from the distance, of course. Now, immediately actually the dragon will breathe fire at the group, as issei would not get involved in this, of course. He would actually watch this fight. issei wants to actually know how powerful the group really actually is, of course, without him, and how actually they can actually come over this without him. He want to actually see actually what they can do actually without actually their help. Now with this, the fight won't really change that much. Yeah, Akano will be actually the only majority of the strong one here, but she will not be stronger than that of actually of a dragon. So with this, actually the group will completely get wiped out by actually Tawny. Now with this, after Tawny would actually about to actually use his flame attack on actually Akano, issei would immediately actually use his magic to actually wrap around Tawny, of course, stopping him in his track, and he will call out for Reyes and Azazel to actually show themselves, of course, that the test is already over. Now everybody will be confused about like what issei said about tests. What does he mean by this? Now Azazel will come out with actually Reyes, and he would actually explain the whole thing was actually a test to see where actually their actually ability does stand. And with this, he was disappointed with actually their performance, of course. Now with this, actually they will go ahead and take the bath, as issei, of course, he will try to actually peek on actually Akano, but completely he will actually fail, of course, because actually the rest of the other girls. Now with this, actually after when they will finish taking the bath, they will be met or brought into the Grimmery estate, Reyes actually house, and there they'll meet with actually Greyfair. Greyfair will show actually the group around actually the household, meeting the other family, of course, and also they will actually meet Vaulina. Vaulina will introduce herself as Reyes' mother. At that, there she will actually invite the group for dinner. Now issei will be sitting right next to Akano, and with this he will be enjoying the food actually, and Reyes' father will actually ask actually questions about Issei. He was curious actually about him, of course. After what Cersei told him after the whole peace treaty, that really did interest actually him, of course. And with this, he will actually ask questions about where Issei's from, where did he come from, things like that, of course. But actually, Issei wasn't really paying attention. He would say like, yeah, sure. So yeah, on. But actually, they got to actually know that Issei was a pretty actually of a nice guy, and actually Valentina just wanted to know if Issei actually had interest for actually her daughter, of course. She was thinking that pretty much if Issei and actually Reyes got together, that would really make her actually happy, like, cause she will be getting grand actually children at least quite very soon. Issei would say like he doesn't actually know, but he thinks Reyes is actually of a cool girl, but not in the relationship wise, of course. He has interest for actually Akuno. Now, of course, everybody will go back to the rooms, and there Issei would actually sleep with Akuno, and there they will actually kind of do the deed. Yes, they will actually kind of like legit do the deed in the room. Yeah, so Issei got his cherry popped, of course, but actually Akuno losing her V card. Now, of course, we will fast forward all the way to the next day, and pretty much actually training will begin. Now, everybody's training will be similar, but actually, for Reyes and Akuno, the training will be different. Issei would actually tell Azazel that he has special training for Reyes and Akuno, of course. Now, Issei will bring the two girls to actually of an unknown location, and with this, a magical door will just appear just out of thin air, of course, as the three of them will walk in, as the door will close, shutting them behind them. Now, that didn't surprise them. What surprised them was where they were. They will just be seeing actually the sky was pink, and they will feel the magical energy surrounding them, of course. It was just so heavy and so immense. They can feel their own magical power that their magic has also increased, of course. They never felt anything like this. Reyes actually explains where were they, and Issei explains that they were in Legend Domain, the birthplace of all magic. Now, Issei will bring actually them to Charmcaster, of course, and there pretty much actually they will meet Charmcaster and they will be blown away by how beautiful she really was. Issei will explain to Charmcaster how actually he brought these two girls here so she can help them train using magic, of course. Charmcaster will be against it at first, while Issei will beg actually her to do this. She will actually give in, of course, but she will actually tell Issei that he owes her a date, of course, after when he's done with them. Now, Issei will actually say it was actually a deal, and with this, he will leave the two girls under Charmcaster's actually hands, and Charmcaster will say that they will be spending the next 4 months with her, and she will say that she's gonna work them to the bone. Now, pretty much we basically actually time skip the 4 months, of course, as Issei, he was actually enjoying himself. Issei would actually be enjoying the underworld, of course, as he would be going around different places and meeting new people. As Issei met one person that really did took an interest to Issei, and that was Rogan. As it was one day when Issei was actually in the restaurant eating actually food, Rogan would actually approach Issei and ask actually will actually tell Issei that he's actually not from here, that he's actually from planet Anodite, of course. Now, this would surprise Issei that a devil knows actually who Issei really is and what actually he is, of course. And Rogan will explain how pretty much she knows Issei's grandmother Delta, of course. That the two of them are majorly good friends. Now, this would actually pique Issei curious, of course, and with this he would try to get to know Rogan better for that 4 months. And they actually really did get along, and Rogan did develop some feelings during that 4 months with Issei. Now, of course, Issei was just having a good time. Issei was also doing some work as he was tracking actually the Chaos Brigade, as they were really just causing trouble, of course, because Azazel asked if Issei if he can track them, and Issei did track them down, and he was giving info to Azazel about the hideout, about their plans, about what they were gonna do, of course, which this changes the whole game completely, since actually they know actually, so since Issei knows the hideout, everything about it, Azazel is actually planning on actually starting a full-out actually attack against actually the Chaos Brigade, of course, with also Servex and Michael. Now, we're basically going to actually the present right now, as actually the group will actually return to the Grimoire Estate. and there they will talk about the 4 months of training and what actually they did during that 4 months. Now, majorly, we will actually move on to actually the peace treaty with actually the North faction. Now, of course, the party will play out differently, but in this one, somebody else will be joining actually his group, which will be Charmcaster, of course, and also Rogan. Now, pretty much they will actually join in the party, and of course, Charmcaster wanted to actually get to go on a date with Issei, since Issei promised her one. Issei will take her out on this dinner night which they were having, so technically he's taking her out on a date, so yeah. Now, the whole party will go normally, of course. Issei will spend time with Charmcaster, Akano, and yeah, and pretty much actually everything was going great until Konako will run off, of course. Issei will actually see this, of course, and like heck, Race will go after her, and Issei will actually go ahead and actually see this, and since it piqued his interest, so Issei will go ahead, follow actually Reyes, of course, and actually Konako. There they'll be met with actually Konako's sister, Kuroka. Now, Kuroka will obviously go to the whole explanation on how she's gonna take Shirori, of course, and how pretty much actually, like, what, there's nothing that Reyes can do. Now, of course, Issei would actually jump in and saying that pretty much there was no need for them to have this actually fight, of course, like, why can't they not all be just friends? Now, actually, Kuroka actually seeing Issei, she asks who is he, and Issei just introduced himself as he is Issei Shiaudo, of course. Now, he doesn't want to fight Kuroka. That pretty much actually, Issei can see it in her eyes. She's not a bad person, of course. If actually they knew who Kuroka really was, they would not actually treat her as actually of a straight devil. Now, of course, like what? Kuroka would not actually kind of like listen to Issei or even trust actually Issei, of course. Issei doesn't actually understand, of course, who she really is. So, she would just actually prepare to use actually her Senjutsu to knock actually them out. But not like knock them out, but just like make them weaken. But it didn't actually affect Issei since he used his Mana skin to protect himself, but it did affect Reyes a little bit, but not as much as that in the anime, of course. Now, Biku will come in and actually join the fight, as Issei will easily handle Biku, like he will completely actually enter his Anodite state, completely knocking Biku out of the fight, and is only just left with actually just Kuroka. Now, Kuroka, seeing that Biku got knocked out, she's gonna try to go all out. She will use everything in her arsenal to try to actually kill Issei, but no matter what she did, it didn't affect Issei. No Senjutsu or her Senjutsu can even affect or even harm him. Issei is completely of a different beast. Now, pretty much Issei will use his magic to go ahead and actually shoot actually his powers towards Kuroka, pinning her to the tree. Issei will actually walk slowly to Kuroka, and with this he will have a sick like what look on his face, as pretty much he will place his hand in the middle of Kuroka's chest. Kuroka was thinking of the worst, but with this she felt something being poured out of her. She will open her eyes and she will see Issei standing there with her broken blue evil pieces, of course. Now, with this, Issei will say like, so this is the thing that I actually want to make devils astray interesting. Issei would prepare to break it, surprising Kuroka, and asks, how did he do that? What did he do? Issei will explain that he removed her evil pieces so she's no longer a straight devil. Issei will explain to Konako that Kuroka is not of an evil person. He saw actually Kuroka's memories and how much she sacrificed for actually her. Issei explained actually what Kuroka did, how actually the old master was a scientist, that she was planning on actually experimenting on actually Konako, but Kuroka saved actually her by killing her master so she wouldn't actually have to go through that, because Kuroka had been through this experiment before, and she doesn't want her sister to go through it, of course. So, truth be told, Kuroka was only trying to protect her younger sister. Konako hearing all this, and she will look towards Kuroka for actually like a yes or no answer, and with this, she will actually just nod her head. With this, Konako will just walk up slowly, and with this, she will hug her sister, just actually lighten up the sister bond once they actually lost, of course. Now, of course, after when that was done, Kuroko would just leave, of course, and with this, Issei would go ahead and just into the party, of course, and there Loki would actually attack Original, as nothing would actually happen, as pretty much Ajuka would send Loki to another dimension, of course. Now, of course, they will actually ask who will go and actually take care of Loki, since actually that seal would not hold him, and of course the original group would actually go to actually face off against Loki, with actually Charmcaster getting involved in this, of course. Now pretty much we will just time skip to where everybody's getting ready to go to battle, and pretty much Ross Weiss will actually join them on this group, and she will be the leader of actually the group, of course, since she knows actually about Loki. So with this, they will teleport on the battlefield, and there actually they will actually be meet with the site of actually the barrier where Juka placed Loki in. The barrier will break, and then Juka will feel actually kind of insulted that Juka will send actually little kids to actually dispose of him, of course. So with this, actually Issei will actually tell the group to actually be on their toes, while also Ross Weiss doing the same thing. Issei and Ross Weiss, of course, with Charmcaster, they will be handling actually kind of Loki, while the rest, they can actually handle actually like what, Fenrir. But just out of nowhere, actually, just the Serpent will come, of course, while also two of actually Fenrir's pups. Now pretty much the battle will continue while actually Issei will fly towards Loki, while also Ross Weiss and Charmcaster, they will shoot their best magic attack at Loki. Loki will use Norse magic to put up a wall, of course, protecting himself from actually their attacks. But actually Issei will already be appearing behind him, just using his magic to wrap actually Loki around, and with this he will slam him towards the ground. Charmcaster will use her actually magic to summon actually rock golems to actually try to beat up Loki. But of course Loki will fly up and try to actually dispose of them, of course, and which he actually did. But to his surprise, the golem would just regenerate, of course, more angry and more stronger than ever. Every time Loki destroys them, actually, they just keep on getting back. And with it, Charmcaster didn't just use it on Loki, she actually used it on actually Fenrir and the rest of actually like Fenrir's actually like what, servants, or even like creatures. As the battle will actually continue, as it will be quite of an easy battle with actually this, since Issei is here and him being an Anodite and Charmcaster, like it will be so easy, of course. Like Fenrir was already actually taken down with actually his two pups, and with this Fenrir will be taken away by actually the Chaos Brigade, of course. And with this, the Servant, the Dragon King, of course, will be easily killed by actually Reyes and actually Arcanol, since they're so strong in this, as pretty much is all is left is just Loki. Now Issei will immediately go into his Anodite state, of course, since Loki was actually weakening, of course, and with this he will immediately go and actually punch Loki in the guts and him flying back to a mountain. But Issei was not done there, as he would grab Loki's face, and with this he will slam him to the ground over and over again. Issei would absorb every ounce of magic that Loki had in his body, and with this, once he actually did do that, he would drop him like he was actually just a ragdoll. Issei would be stepping on Loki. Issei would use his actually mana head to lift him up, and with this he would proceed just to hit him over and over again, calling him quite pathetic, of course, thinking that he's so superior, thinking that actually you can actually just do whatever you want without no consequences, of course. Now Loki would say that pretty much how dare he treat actually him like this, that he is a god. But Issei will just fling him up in the sky and he will say, yeah, but I'm an Anodite. With this, he will proceed just to actually whack Loki again to the ground, completely knocking him unconscious. Now Thor's hammer will come, but actually like Issei would actually just use it to whack Loki away, like just putting an end to the Loki arc, of course. After this whole event was actually done, they will immediately teleport back to the Devil faction, and they will give the report that Loki has been dealt with, as pretty much he's been sealed away. Now Loki will not give his curse to Issei because Issei will not really be affected by the curse, and even if Loki did place a curse on Issei, he can easily dispel it, of course, so there was no need. So with this, we basically just time skip to a few scenes with just Reyes and Arcanol, and they will spend more time together, more lovely times as boyfriend and girlfriend. Yes, they are a couple now. Issei actually now officially made it a couple. And with this, surprisingly, Charmcaster decided to move in to the house where Issei was living, with also Rogun too. Now, pretty much actually, after that small little arc was actually done, we pretty much have the Deodora arc, but there's no need for me to go into it, of course. Deodora is not even a problem, because actually Issei knows about the Chaos Brigade, and pretty much the Chaos Brigade are pretty much losing here, because Issei knows about the location, and he's actually just sending actually armies of actually like fallen angels, of actually devils and angels to attack actually the Chaos Brigade headquarters, of course. So pretty much actually the Deodora arc, yeah, it's not actually looking good. So when the Deodora arc comes and he tries to actually take Arcia, yeah, it doesn't work. Issei just teleports the group there to Deodora Castle, and there they all proceed just to beat on Deodora, rescuing actually Arcia. Now, pretty much Arcia would obviously pray and she'd be sent to the Dimensional Gap, which would actually rage actually Zenobia, of course, but Issei would stop her and saying that he can bring actually Arcia back, which he would, and he would teleport to the Dimensional Gap and teleport him back here, and there actually he would meet actually Shelba. Now, Shelba would actually explain how pretty much actually he is going to destroy and take over the underworld, of course. But Issei would say that pretty much he had enough of this Chaos Brigade. Issei would enter his Anodite state, of course, and with this he would destroy Shelba. Shelba didn't even stand a chance. Issei was actually of a different being. He grew in size, of course. Issei was a giant, as he was wiping the rest of the Chaos Brigade and also Shelba at the same time. Issei just split himself into millions of pieces, like kind of like clones. He just cloned himself, of course, and pretty much actually they all proceeded to beat up on Shelba, while some of them went to help against the like Chaos Brigade, and it was just completely a one-sided fight. Issei just carried the whole team actually to victory, of course. So once Shelba was done and defeated, of course, we pretty much actually just have actually like Kyoto actually arc, but nothing really big happens here. Once they actually get to Kyoto, of course, pretty much actually Issei is able to locate Yasuka and easily able to deal with actually the Kyoto faction, of course. So pretty much they rescue Yasuka, and actually they will actually join their Kyoto trip, while also actually Yasuka would actually try to get to know Issei more better, of course, because like what? I am actually allowing it, of course, but pretty much actually Issei is quite building a harem right now, because actually Issei is getting the attraction of loads of women, of course. Like actually pretty much he has Akino as a girlfriend, he has Charmcaster, he has Rogun, and pretty much Issei even started to even like actually Kuroka, of course, since she started actually coming actually to see Konoko, of course, and they actually explained this to Sir Zex, and since Sir Zex couldn't do anything about it, of course, since actually Kuroka was actually no longer a stray devil, she's free to do whatever she wants. But if she did do anything to harm actually Riz or actually her group, they will actually hunt her down again. But like even if she may not be a devil. So with this, Kuroka was actually kind of pleased with this, and like heck, she actually did still work with the Chaos Brigade, but like a little of it, of course. Now, we'll just actually fast forward all the way to actually the Cyber Orc games, and there's not really much to go about it here. Riz is actually quite strong, and also Akino here, so they will actually give Cyber Orc a good fight, and they will actually win this fight since they're so powerful, of course. So with this, Riz will end up winning, of course, as pretty much, this is where I'm pretty much going to be ending the What If, guys. And if you guys actually really like this part, of course, let's comment or get this video actually to actually about like 20 likes, and I'll be making part 4 of What If Issei was actually of an Anodite, of course. My name is Ultra Anime, I'm logging out, peace.
You're the smartest man alive, aren't you?
Smarter than all the dead ones too.
You help me, I help you. Tell me where they are, and I'll talk to Odin.
Your father won't let me go, Balder, and he won't let you kill me.